What is a certified divorce specialist? And specifically for me in mortgage industry is
Welcome to another exciting episode of Dora Homes Real Estate Talks. I'm your host, Betty Gonzalez, and today we have a very special guest joining us, which, by the way, was my very first guest, Crystal Kaneki. She's not your average mortgage lender. Crystal is a true expert when it comes to thinking outside the box in the world of real estate, and she's also recognized as a divorce specialist, making her unique, qualified to help navigate the complex waters of property ownership during challenging life transactions. In today's episode, we're going to dive into a different type of way to buy houses, one that suits individuals and families undergoing significant life changes. Christelle has a wealth of knowledge and experience to share with us on this topic, and we can wait to hear her insights and advice. But before we begin, make sure if you're watching after the recording to hit the subscribe button on YouTube. And if you are watching us live here on Facebook, please give it a like and make some comments and ring the notification bell so that you never miss another episode of Dora Homes Real Estate Talks. We're committed to bring you the latest trends, expert advice, and innovative strategies to help you make the most informed real estate decisions. So without further ado, let's get started with today's episode and explore a fresh perspective on buying homes with Christelle. Christelle, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for coming on today.
Of course, and thank you so much for asking me. And yes, I love that we started a couple of months ago or so, I think. And you've been consistent, and I keep on applauding you every Thursday morning, 9 o'clock. You are bringing amazing information and guests to share about a specialty. And today, well, first, I want to say Happy New Year to all of your audience. May you prosper and have all that your heart desire. And I will share with you that goal as we salespeople or even individuals who go through life. It's like it's the beginning of the year. What's my goal? So I'm going to share with you two words that I have for the number one that I want to see in all aspects of my life is joy. Meaning whenever I show up somewhere, am I experiencing joy or am I making the other person feel experience of joy? And in that connection. So we'll love to hear in your comments, what are your words or what is your one word that you are taking on for this year, this quarter, this moment, this right now. So after now sharing about my goal of bringing joy, I'm actually going to talk about something that's uncomfortable: divorce, life changes. And I would say that I have gone through two divorces, mine as a child when I was 9 years old, and mine as an adult, which brought me to Florida after I divorced. So that was about 5-6 years ago. And don't mistake when I sometimes smile, because I know it's a very challenging time when somebody goes through a divorce. And my intention as a person, as an individual, not just as a professional, is when somebody's going through divorce is to at some point empower them to know there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's not just darkness. At some point there will be a transition, and I will hold a person's hand that'll be in the mortgage or in conversation, as I've been a prayer chaplain, of I hold the space for you to go through your grievance, through your loss, for that transition. And I will sometime bring in, mostly if I'm a professional as a lender, the conversation. Okay, let's talk about the facts. Let's talk about the transition now of your home. Now we're talking about someone who's going through a divorce, and they may own a home or they're going to be buying a home for the first time. So either way, it's still a life transition. It's different to say, hey, we're getting married. We're excited to hit this person. Can't believe I'm getting through a divorce. I can't believe all those things. The emotion is different. So my way of being at that moment is really holding space of empathy, compassion, all that you need in that moment, so that you know you are being heard. Because in that moment, I have a client recently who's actually moving from Connecticut to Florida, who is like, I have no support. So all the emotions of not being supported, not being guided, not being taken care of. And this is a man who's like going through this hard time. It's being able to tell him, I know you may not feel that way in some aspects of your life, but know you have a specialized lender, myself, who is going to be there for you. Sometimes I'm going to try to make you laugh just to bring that joy, to let you know we're going to get through this. So what is a certified divorce specialist? And specifically for me in mortgage industry is I've actually gone through a training called the National Association of Divorce Professional, and we'll be also going through another one that's specific to lending. But in that training, we go through 4 pillars. And I would say as a child, I did not really see my mother, because I was more with her when she was going through a divorce, getting the support in all those pillars. I did have that myself, didn't realize that's what I was doing. But it's with community. With community, we get through things easier. So the 4 pillars the National Association of Divorce Professionals speaks about is mental health, because this is a transition. Mental health also for your kids, if you have kids. The law, of course. The first thing is that I'm going to get a divorce, or he's asking me or she's asking me for a divorce. I'm going to talk to an attorney. Take a step back and really start assessing mental health. When I was going through my divorce, went through a lot of books of reading, going through a divorce easily, going through a divorce. Those were the books I was reading without resentment. So I wanted my mental health to be where I wasn't moving forward with anger, although it was there, but so that I could move beyond that at some point or through that. So mental health. The law, of course, because you do need to have specialists who know what you need to do to protect yourself, or to ensure that the other party is giving you the disclosures you need to provide, that it is fair as much as it can be. Then real estate. So people like Betty, which she actually had a guest last week, which was a specialist in real estate and helping clients who are going through a divorce, because it's different. We want to be careful when somebody is selling. This is not my specialty, but I know from doing the training, when you're going to be selling your house and you have kids, that might be the one room that's not staged because they're going through a hard time. That might be that one room that people don't go in because they are not just like, we're selling a home, we're moving to another home. This is like, my parents are splitting, right? So the realtor is specialized in hearing, in listening the dynamic of the household so that they can help in that process. How much is communicated with the other spouse. So that's very specialized training to help maneuver through those complexities. The real estate side of it includes me, the lender, because at that moment, I want to be able to share with you, when you're a first time buyer, your realtor will say, or Betty will say, go get your pre-approval letter. When you're going through a divorce, I'm just going through my divorce, get this over with. We're moving faster and not really taking the steps of understanding, what do I need to do to be able to buy my first home? Because now I'm no longer going to be with my spouse. This is going to be my first home by myself, although you're not a first time buyer. Or I'm going to go ahead and refinance this current house so I can give the money because I'm keeping the house, and there might be some equity that you need to give. You need to know what you qualify for, because it's all nice to say, I want to stay in the same house so my kids can go ahead and have the same dynamic and not having those changes, but can you qualify for it? Would it actually make financial sense? Yes,
Crystal,
Betty.
I mean, this is fascinating because, I don't specialize in divorces. And, each agent specializes in something, and some of us are just generalists. I specialize in the VA home loan
Right.
and the Doral area, so that I know I can hone in this location. But what I learned with my guest last week, as you mentioned, is that he says that sometimes they have to reach out because one or both need to pre-qualify again, even if they want to keep their own home. I never thought
Yes.
about it.
Yeah.
But these are the things that when you don't specialize in something specifically, you don't think about. And that's why you had the specialist like yourself and the guest that came in last week, which is the Gras Santamayo group, which is pretty interesting. Thank you for touching on that, because I believe these are some of the things that if people are going through that, they don't think about.
Right.
And that's why I like to bring experts in their field like yourself, because you're not just any lender. You are a specialist lender, and your specialty is in divorcees. And I mean, you can help everyone, but
Right.
the fact that you can specifically help this group of people, it's very special, and no need to be taken for granted. Kind of like I would like to recommend somebody buying a VA with a lender that does a lot of VAs. So
Mm-hmm.
I would like to recommend somebody that's going through a divorce with a lender that does a big volume of divorcees.
Right.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It just
No, I love that.
it was pretty interesting that you have to go through the process all over again, either each other or one of them have to
Correct.
go through the process if they want to
Right.
keep their property. Because
Exactly.
sometimes, sadly, they cannot, right? Sometimes they cannot afford the property.
That's right. So the advantage we have is a lot of people have equity in their home. So let's say they go ahead and divorce and sell the house. They can go ahead and now split the equity or whatever the agreement is and take and now have a chunk of money they can put as a down payment compared to maybe the first time they bought. They may have done a 3.5%. They may have done 100% financing. So we may actually be in a better position now because there's equity in so many of the homes to purchase the next house, but you still have to go through the qualification, what you qualified for already as a general buyer 2 3 years 2 years ago with the lower rates is different with the rates right now. But at the same time, now you have two things to think about. Am I paying child support, which is now a debt or alimony that you have to qualify with? Or if you are the recipient, how much of that child support or alimony can I use? Because people think, oh, I'm going to get $5,000. Well, that's a good amount of money to receive as a child support or alimony. But what if it's only for 1 year? I can't use that. Because it could be an agreement where for the first 12 months of divorce or after divorce, the person is going to get $5,000. I'm just giving you a number that can sound significant as an income, but it may not be
So,
used.
so Crystal, so in that, so who decides this number? The judge, the court, or through the divorce? So how do you know about this? Like, how do you know
The
about those
attorney.
funds?
So when
That
for somebody, so the attorney, if you use an attorney or mediator, someone who's helping you calculate what is a fair number based on the person's income. So each state's counties, they have their calculation of what could be fair, but then they negotiate, right? Because I might be paying the daycare, I might be paying those things. So it's part of a negotiation. But that's why it's important before you go to a lawyer and spend thousands and thousands of dollars working on an agreement, and now you can buy a house because, or you may not be able to buy the house you desire because of the way you structured your agreement. Instead of making that $5,000 in one lump sum or in 12 months, let's say, you may want to spread it for 3 years because guess what? Now I can use that income because we need to show continuance for 3 years of receiving that income in order to use it. Even if in the end it's the same number, right? But it might be spread out and I might be able to use it. The
interesting.
difference, the difference with child support and alimony is alimony is 3 years, yes, but child support is also 3 years, but it's dictated by the child's age. So if the child is already 15 or 16, even though you're getting that income, I may not be able to use it unless your agreement specifically stated in a way, and we can maybe ask for an exception with underwriting. But you want to know all that before you sign your agreement.
So I got a little lost there. So okay, so if the alimony is based on a child that you have a minor in the house
The alimony is
for the
spouse
spouse,
support, right?
but
And
you
that has
can
to
have a
continue for 3 years.
okay, and if you have a child that is 16, I got lost with the
Mhm.
16.
Either way, we have to show continuance for 3 years. When a child is 15 or more, it's likely that it's not going to continue because it's usually until 18. So that three
Okay,
year continuance is no longer there.
got you.
You
Okay,
see
so
what I'm
even
saying?
if the agreement is for 3 years, it has to specifically state whether the kid is
Well, we're going to ask for the birth certificate of the child's age. And if the child is 15, and by the time you close, they're going to be within their time frame was less than 3 years, and I cannot use that income.
wow.
Now, there could be some exceptions because the agreement is written in a certain way. I'm not saying it's black and white, but that's usually what the guidelines will call. We have to show continuous of income for the next 3 years. So it's important that the agreement is spelled out in a way that we can use that income. So the key is being communication, not just run to a lawyer and start getting numbers going because you could go making great amount of money and you pay so much in child support or alimony, or even if it's an average type of income, that still is going to impact you. So you want to know where you stand. It's best to be safe and having understanding of what you qualify for based on the potential agreement before you sign it, because once it's signed, it's done.
Okay,
You may or
and
may not
Crystal,
qualify.
so question. So obviously, it's whoever keeps the kids. And how do they determine who's gonna get the money? Is it based on the amount that the spouses make? Is it based in one spouse work and they didn't work for like 10 years and therefore they couldn't start a career or something like that? Could you expand on that?
So that's going to be more with the lawyer. So it depends on how long you've been married. It depends on how like in my case, my ex-husband said, well, she has a master's degree. There is no, I mean, he wanted to give, let's say, spousal agreement, income, but there's only so much because she has a degree, she can get a job anywhere. So it really depends on the case by case, right? Situation that you will talk. So I'm not saying don't talk with your lawyer. Your lawyer and your mediator will help you with that. They do have grids and calculators that they use based on income. So if there's one income, then it's going to be based on how many kids, how much percentage of your income that will go towards spousal support or child support. Right. So that is still with an agreement with your lawyer. But when I say to speak with the lenders, you want to know based on what you make right now, like as you negotiate, you may want to know, well, if I want to buy a house at this amount, I can only pay this amount in child support. And there might be another way for me to give it as a lump sum. So it's just a negotiation to make sure you still can move forward in your qualification. Does that make sense?
Yes,
It's
yes.
decided by the lawyer and the judge in the end, but your agreement,
But
right,
what you
is
want, so what you would like to advise the listeners right now
mhm,
is that they need to know what this money is, and by talking like in conjunction, not after the fact, with the lender, if the intentions are to keep the house or to buy another, to talk
correct.
to you, maybe talk to find out what how to write this agreement in order to benefit the purchase of another house or the repurchasing of their own house.
Correct. Yes.
Now, do you think the attorneys? I mean, I know they're specialists in that, but do you believe the attorneys advise them to do this? Do they even know to tell them that?
No, a lot of times they don't. So the attorneys that you and I work with a lot of attorneys in Broward, where the attorneys who do, they've been trained in what's called collaborative law. So they know that those pillars I was mentioning, the last one is financial. So your accountants and your financial advisors are basically coming together to ensure, I won't say win-win situation, but the best outcome for all parties. So there is collaborative law in Florida. It is a more recent type of law, but it's a specific type of way of going into your divorce. There's mediation, there's litigation, and there's collaborative as well, and other forms of divorce. So the lawyers, when you knock on the lawyer's door, they're not necessarily automatically saying, go speak to this and this person. It's like, oh, you want a divorce? Great. Let's draft it based on da 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 da. Right? But the ones who are more, I want to describe more of something, but the character of like, you know what, you may want to consider speaking to a lender before you sign this agreement. I think that's doing more of a service to the actual person going through a divorce. But a lot of times they don't, because they don't even know. Like when I speak to lawyers, they don't even know, oh, really? You can't use that? Because they're going for the divorce. Their mind, their expertise, let me give you the best divorce that you can have. Meaning maybe
Right.
the money, the spousal debt or income. That's really their focus. So that's why I love to specialize in this and work with those who are doing collaborative divorce, or even speaking to attorneys to let them know, by the way, we could help more clients for the greater good. Because come from the space of for the greater good of all. Even when I went through my divorce, it's like, let's make this as fair as possible versus I'm going at you. But those are mindsets. That's a whole different
No,
thing.
but I mean, and there's a lot of different emotions that are going to go
Yes.
through each couple. You know,
Yes.
even if it is in a more conducive way, like they're being amicable, but most of the time it's not like that.
Correct.
Especially, I mean, let's call it like it is. We're Hispanics. We're very emotional, in this part, and sometimes not rational. So we have to put in the hat, what's going to be my life, how does my life going to look like after the fact,
Got it.
right?
Got it.
And this is so important to me. That's why I love this podcast, because I bring professionals like you, because you bring to light questions or answers of questions that people don't even know that they have. You can ask a question that you don't know that is a
It does.
thing, because a lot of people don't go through divorces. I mean, and if they do go through divorce, they don't go through three or four. Oh, I do this for a hobby. No, people don't do.
Right.
This is a one-time experience that they go through,
And it's a
and
hard one. It's a challenging
it's
one.
a hard one. Think about it. People, they got married, they're excited, they're so happy, and they bought their house thinking that they're gonna live there happily ever after, and then they have to go through this. So all of these emotions, you have kids, you have everything's one person doesn't work, or if they do work, they don't make as much. All of these worry because they don't see, so how is my life gonna look after that? The least thing that they're thinking is, oh, because I'm not, let me plan for when I buy my next house.
Right.
Sometimes they're not, they want to, but this has come as an afterthought.
Correct. Because the first
And,
thought is, I need to get out of this. How do I
right.
get out of this? Take me out of this. So that's the blinders that we have in that moment. And that's why it's important to share this type of podcast for people who are going through divorce or even a challenging time, because sometimes it's not so much just a divorce, it could be a relocation, right? And that's a transition. That's also requires some experts to help you understand what you could get from doing a relocation. So those life transitions, it's great to have experts who can guide in the process, because this is not a small thing. We're not just buying a car. I'm not saying it's not important to buy a car, but this is a lifetime change that's happening. This is a major transition in life. So
uh,
having experts, a community that can help and guide is very important.
so this is something that I've learned through even going through coaching myself, for professionally. That you are buying time. When you go with the professional, you're buying time because they've already gone through something. So they've already helped somebody that have gone through the things that you're going through, instead of having to learn through hard knocks.
Mhm.
So, Crystal, you went through the one of the pillars. I don't remember two. You said mental health
Mhm.
and maybe the finance portion of it. Did you mention the other two? Because if you did, I missed them.
Right. So the financial part is going to be specifically your accountants, your financial advisors. Real estate falls into lawyer. I'm sorry, not lawyer, real estate agents and lender. So that's the real estate part.
That's
And
the third
then
one.
law. Right. And
And
law
law.
is the one. And it's
Okay.
not in that particular order. It's just four pillars:
Okay. So let me write them down. So the pillars are
mental health,
mental health,
real
then
estate,
real estate,
financial,
financial,
and law. And
and law.
again, it's like a table. There's not an order for it. It's just all those pillars. And that's
Okay.
what we do at the National Association of Divorce Professional. So, and that's very much a part of what collaborative law or collaborative divorce
Right. And
talks and
and
focus
that
on.
collaborative. And then you said that there's a new law. There's reasons that
That's
some,
a collaborative one.
right, collaborative, that the some lawyers will specialize in going through.
Correct.
And
Yes.
so when you do that, when you go through the class, do you go through the class with lawyers and lenders and agents, or is it just like separate
So the
class?
different trainings, the training that I'm referring to is more of a network of professionals with all those in each one of those pillars. So it's a more of a general training, although it's specific when we go through like what I do, what a realtor would do, but it's a general organization for all of those pillars. Now there is specific training for collaborative law, collaborative organization. So that's different. I would say they kind of work hand in hand. And then there is also the certified lending professional for divorce, which is one that I'm going to add in my certifications as well. So there are different certifications for divorce to really expand the information and the knowledge that we have as professionals to help guide clients.
Okay, excellent. And Crystal, we were talking that you wanted to talk about some of the more strategic way of helping some of
Mhm.
these clients if they wanted to learn through a different form of financing, or a way to
A tool.
finance a tool to be able
Yes,
to buy their next property or their own property.
correct. So, not necessarily for the old property, because that would be more of the refinance. This is truly to purchase a home. And everybody has heard of GoFundMe, right? I have a goal, or somebody's going through a hard time, whatever it is, help me raise money. So this is similar. It's called home funded. And it is talked more about for first time buyers or for somebody's buying a house with a spouse. So guess what? I'm getting married. In my registry, go ahead and see my QR code that talks about our goal of buying a home together. And you can see I'm smiling, we're excited about it. And I'm going to actually share that you can also do the same when you're going through a divorce. Now, you're not necessarily spilling your beans on social media to say to everybody, I'm going through a divorce, help me raise money. But your sphere of influence, your community may know that you're going through it, and you can start creating a fund where they are supporting you. And you can put it on social media like this is, however comfortable you are, but it's called Home Funded. And it's CMG, the company I work for, will give up to $2,000 towards closing costs to help with those clients. But what it does is really spreading the word that I am needing help for a goal. I have a goal of buying my next home. And even someone who's going through divorce can actually use that too, because it's getting, one thing that I've learned through doing so many of mindset trainings is community is the village. Having the right community to support us, help us move forward. So it's called Home Funded. I'll put a link in description. I'll send that to you so that people can look into it. You can use it for your kid who's graduating. You can use it for your post-divorce or going through the divorce. It's a way of raising money to have down payment for your house. And you can
Okay,
have,
and how and they have to like go through a specific. I know you're
it's
gonna
like a
see.
GoFundMe. I'll send you the link, and then they
Okay,
can go ahead and set it up with you, for instance. And then now they can start sharing it, sharing their story, whatever that story is. It could be a fun one, or it could be one of like, I really need your support. GoFundMe is like that, right? It's whatever the person needs. We're just raising money, but that's a specific goal. It's not, because you're going through surgery. It's because you are going through buying a house. So it's specific to Home Funded.
and also, what is the limit that a person can give to you in this fund?
Up to $5,000 per person. Right,
Okay,
but it's unlimited. You can raise the full amount of money that you need for maybe buying the house, right? If you
got you.
really get that promoted. So it's a way of saving. As you're going through a process, you can save your own money. You can go through down payment assistance, like traditional down payment assistance program, and this can be a supplemental one. Yes,
Oh no, this is really interesting. So I mean, up to 5,000 per one
for,
person. I mean, that's
for
a
one
lot of
person.
money.
Mhm.
So I mean, now that people are gonna give you that,
Even if it's $50 or $10, imagine
right,
10
little by
multiplied by
little, right.
100.
And it could be somebody's goal, like to the from now, this is the beginning of 2024, during the time
Mhm.
of this recording. So let's say that you want to, your goal is for next year, next January, to be in your next house. It could be in the
Correct.
period of that year that you're
That's right.
asking people to help you fund for your next, property. This is
Mhm.
a good way because people, people want to help you, especially when you
Right.
go through life changing situations, and they're like, how can I help? Well, this is a way to help,
God, yes.
right? To get somebody out of a lump or a situation. So, Crystal, this has been very, very educational, very helpful. I've learned a lot. I hope the audience have learned a lot. And please leave your comments, leave your questions if you have them, because this is the third time that Crystal have come on the show, and she's going to continue to come. So if you have any questions, I could then ask her in the next interview, or she can answer herself. I'm going to leave all of her information in the links in the description below. So, Christelle, do you have any last, I don't know, things to leave the audience? Any tips or any advice?
I would say once you have that one word that I started with, that one word that you have as a goal for your life for this year or even this quarter, every morning when you wake up, how do I show up? How is that word really showing up? How did I do with that word yesterday? Because sometimes we're overwhelmed with a list of things to do, but showing up with that word, and even if you're going through a divorce, it's like my intention going through a divorce was to let go of resentment or let go of some emotions that will not serve me. So really be accountable to yourself and also connect with those who are going to support your goal. So
Oh,
this is
that's
the first
important.
month, January goal. We all talk about setting goals. It's really set the tone for how you're going to live this year and the years ahead.
Christelle, I think you just make me think as you're speaking. I think my word this this year is
Mhm.
gonna be intentional.
Intention. Love
I'm
it.
gonna put in there. Mine is intentional. I mean, I'm gonna be intentional what I'm doing, either in my personal life, with my kids, my husband, my health, and in business. I want to be intentional. I want to help the people that want to be helped by me, and I want to bring the professionals that I know that my audience need, and it's all going to be intentional. It was very intentional that you're here today speaking about how you can help divorcees, as I had last week's agents that also specialize in helping clients going through, difficult times like that. Christelle, how can they get in contact with you if they want to get a hold of you? uh,
Well, you can definitely find me here on social media, as well as setting up a time on my calendar. That's one of the quickest ways. Pull my calendar up, pick a time, let's connect. There's no fee to connect. It's not like a consultation fee. So just pick a time on my calendar. Let's connect. Let's tell me what you learned from this. Even if it's your one word, go ahead and set up a time and let's connect. I love to connect. That's my second word, right? Connect, joy, and connection. So let's connect. Use my calendar link or go on my page, CMG Home Loans, Christelle Kanigit.
Guys, you heard it from Crystal, joy, connection, and money's intention. So put in your word in the comments below. What is your one, I don't know, commitment for this year? Or what is your intentions right now? Again, please join us every Thursday at 9 a.m. here live on Facebook, or after the fact, you can see us the streaming on YouTube. Like and subscribe, and this is a community for professionals, people that are looking to buy or sell, but also for homeowners, where we all gather and just bring everything to one home at the Home Real Estate Talks. Thank you for tuning in, and again, see you again next week. Bye, guys. Thank you, Christelle.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. See you next time. Bye, bye, guys.
Thanks. Bye bye.